Doing something ever so slightly different tonight, in the sense that we're going to be talking quite a bit about the Sabs as opposed to a particular year or something from vegan history. It'll be a bit more across the park, so to speak.
Are we going to go back to the League Against Cruel Sport? And I think it was Henry Salt who coined the word blood sports.
Yeah,
So that must have been the 1920s, yeah?
it might have even been before that. Hang on.
When was the league founded, Ronnie? About 1925, was it?
Organisation.
1924 League Against was.
Yeah, that doesn't
Oh
surprise
no, I was
me.
12 months out.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, did well there, Roger. Yeah, the league had been going for decades before. There were some other organisations against hunting as well, wasn't there? Was there?
Yeah,
National-
there was national something for banning hunting or something, wasn't it?
They kind of faded away. They were a lot less prominent, weren't they?
Yeah, I had you on it.
Danny.
Well, they were certainly around in 1977 when I started to try and get involved. First off, I always call it my false start, but they were around then because I picked up a music mag. I think it was the NME, and there was a big article about sabbing and about anti-hunting in general, and there was at least 3 groups talked about then.
So not 1914 was the first time he used the word blood sports in an essay, but the first time that it was printed in a book would have been 70 Years Among Savages, which is
21.
21.
That's a brilliant title for an autobiography, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
When I'm 80, I'm
Don't
going to
give anybody
write
any
80
ideas.
years amongst arseholes.
Well, I mean, it's technically 100% true.
Well, yes.
I mean, everyone's
it's not
got one,
sexist.
right? So, yeah.
Someone an arsehole because you're not discriminating, are you, against anyone?
Well, obviously, hunting horses have 2 arseholes, though, don't they?
Yeah,
One
that's
under their
very
tail,
true. Yeah.
One on their tail and one on their back.
Well, yeah, I mean, sometimes with the terrier men as well, you get 3 or 4 on a quad bike.
I've got a very funny story about the arseholes of huntsmen or hunting people.
Keep that under your hat. So
Yeah.
we ought to kind of do a bit of groundwork, really. So we've mentioned Henry Salt, who came up with the word blood sports. And of course, the hunters hate that phrase, right? And then we've got the League Against Cruel Sports, 1924. The HSA, Hunt Saboteurs Association, that's 1963. And apparently their first sab was on Boxing Day, which might have been a breakaway from the league, because the league used to do Boxing Day demos, didn't they, Ronnie?
Yeah, the league used to kind of have, these yearly protests, demonstrations at the meets of hunts on Boxing Day. I think that's the only time they engaged in.
Yeah, that's right. Once a
I
year,
mean,
Joey, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, they were mainly aimed at campaigning towards Parliament, I think, and getting their members to maybe write to their MP and that kind of thing. It's very similar to what the other various single issue organisations did at the time. Like prior to the 60s and the 70s.
If we want to list blood sports, so we this is kind of like, I would say this would be European and particularly Britain, but also Ireland. But
Yes.
Am I right in thinking as well that the HSA was founded because of deer hunting and not fox hunting as well? I don't mean founded like just because of, but I mean that was kind of like the inspiration behind it.
It may be because it's founded in Devon. It was founded in a guy called John Prestige who lived in Brixham in Devon. I don't know whether he was a reporter on a newspaper at the time, and he reported on a stag hunt and found it so obnoxious that that's what inspired him to set up the Hunt Saboteurs. I think that's
Jim Harlan says mink hunts are beneficial, to be fair. To whom?
They're certainly not beneficial to the minks, are they? I mean, the amount of disruption that such things cause to the natural environment, to have all these people, tramping along the river and going along the banks of the river, and all these dogs going in and out of, with the undergrowth and all that. That's horrendously disruptive.
Well, that's why the hunts had
Misty birds and
come up with they had their own fence menders and all that kind of stuff, didn't they?
Well, yes. I mean, of course, prior to mink hunting, it was otter hunting, and the hunters only switched to hunting mink because they could no longer hunt otters because otters became a protected animal under I think it was the Wildlife and Countryside Act of 1981. I think it was the early 80s anyway. It became illegal to hunt otters, so that's why they switched to mink.